So we've been looking on Marketplace for a good used engine for that Wanderlodge that has a seized engine. So we found this one, and the buyer arranged to have it shipped here to us. So just initial look, everything looks normal on here. But we'll go through it, we'll run it before we put it in there. It's got an air throttle on it, that'll have to come off, but that's no big deal. This has Jake brakes on it, so you can have a Jake brake. The couple accessories will come off that don't go on there for the Wanderlodge. I think that's the correct bell housing, but I'll have to confirm it. Otherwise, we have the one on the other engine, we'll just have to swap it over. These need to be swapped around in their position for the bus, but that'll work. Things like the tachometer's wires are cut. I'm not, I hate they do stuff like that, but we can come back from that. This has the old school style oil filter on it. We can change that around. And some of the cooling stuff, I'm not sure if that oil cooler cover is the same, or I'm gonna have to change it from the one that's on the bus now. But all the parts that we're gonna need to make it fit are this on the other bus. So if I believe these manifolds are exactly the same, the turbo's the same, and the turbo pipes I think are the same. But we'll have to look closely at everything and make sure that everything's on there correctly. But, I haven't looked at anything on here yet, but it was run in 2018 per the writing on here. Yeah, that turbo is junk. That's no good. Oh, it's seized. Luckily we got a new turbo on the other engine, but hopefully that's not a sign of things to come on this engine. All right, so I started taking these accessories off because they need to be swapped around. The top thing has an alternator on it on the bus, and then the pump and the air compressor need to be swapped around. I went ahead and tried to bar the engine over, and it's completely seized. It won't spin either direction. So I'm taking off the water pump here just in case for some reason the water pump was seized, and that was the last accessory on here. And if it's not this, then the engine is internally seized, and that is not going to be good. Spin. Okay, yeah, it's just tightening the nut. Okay, well, on a two-stroke engine here, we can remove these covers, and that'll let us get a look inside at the pistons. We'll be able to see what's going on. This is down in the very center of the engine, so we'll be able to see the sides of the pistons and everything, and the cylinders, and make sure everything's okay in there. This video is sponsored by KY Lubricants. Established in 1904, you should consider using this as some preventative maintenance on your for your next purchase you may be thinking about buying on Facebook Marketplace. Click our affiliate link in the description to make your purchase today. Still pooled water down in the exhaust manifold. Okay, so we put a couple of motor mounts. Ones I have only fit on there sideways, but that'll give us a place to put some jack stands so we can get this up off of the pallet so we can drop the oil pan, check out the crank on it. Ready?
Jackie Milk.
Let me see inside that thing. It's had a lot of water sitting in it for a long time. This side's good, except for one cylinder. It's got a little bit of rust in it, but a little rusty, a lot rusty, a whole bunch of water, and up at the top. Like stalactites. I specifically asked the seller if this was stored inside or outside. He said it was stored inside. I do believe that he had no idea that it was like this on the inside. I don't think he would have drove it over here and delivered it knowing it was seized up and as bad a shape as it is. But I still feel like we got completely screwed on this deal, and he should work with us on doing something. There were no hose clamps on the backside of the turbo here where it goes down into the intake. I think maybe that's where the rainwater was getting in at, and so he didn't know that it was there, but this is probably where it came in and then went into the air box and then came up through the piston, the cylinder into the head with the open valves. That's my guess. I mean, everything is rusty. Camshafts are rusty. It's just, the whole thing is just, the Jake brakes are all crispy and crusty from the condensation inside the engine, and it's just a mess. I mean, the seller said he was giving us a good used engine, and this is not good at all. It's completely used up. It's never going to run again. And he was emailing me back and forth when I first started sending him pictures of all the problems we were finding. And then when I asked him if he was going to work with us on the deal, complete crickets. I've sent him 2 more messages, 18 hours apart, I think it was, and no replies. We did drain a bunch of water out of the oil pan because the airbox drains connect through here. Run it down horizontally, maybe it'll get it. That is a lot of Permatex. I mean, we might as well just keep digging to see if we have any good usable salvage pieces on here, but it's not looking very good. It's amazing how much the extension sucks.
It's just a little one.
So the blower doesn't spin or jiggle at all. It's seized up. We have the drive shaft removed on it, so it should just spin freely there, but it's part of the problem too. Try coming back the other way. You're tightening the nut now.
Listening it?
No.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, you're loosening the nut. Yeah. Go back the other way again. Okay, yeah, it's just tightening the nut. Or maybe not. Yeah, normally they're like glued to it. You just gotta go that way just a tiny bit and it'll come out. There's a lot of rust down inside the block here. Lots of goopy, watery, oily mess on here. There was oil down in the bottom of the pan. The airbox drains here drain back down into the oil pan. So the water that got into the airbox, some of it was able to get down into the oil pan. So there was about, you can kind of see the line in the pan, about 2 inches worth of water, mostly at the bottom because the oil floats. But that means that the sumps were sitting in the water. The rod bearings actually didn't look very bad. We started popping off rod bearings on here, hoping we could get the engine to turn over. That might push up a liner and pull the rod away from the crank on one. But we've got the rod cap, so it still doesn't want to turn over.
Can you grab a ratchet?
Here, you just come here, pull it, it'll come right off. Three-eighths.
Take a 12 point.
Normally that thing's hard to get off there too. Just get the pry bar back.
I don't know if that was important.
I think it was just a, what was it, a washer?
I don't know.
Oh, the Woodruff key came off. That's what it was. There's a Woodruff key on the bottom of this,
Oh.
and it just came off. That's what's holding it on there.
Oh.
It's laying right there. So this is the end bearing is what that is there. It gets oil squirted through it. It's a common leak. We have to replace this gasket back behind here, and then there's a center bushing. And then if you flip this around, that comes out. There's a seal there, and then this isn't. You get a new piece every time. Okay, so to pull this out, you got to make sure you get all these different cam bearing clusters piloted through their holes. It does fit, but it's a very tight fit. Go ahead. It's like you got to go down a little bit on your end, not up, down. There you go. Okay, and I think this camshaft is probably jumped too, because I saw down here, I saw a bunch of rust. Right here on this lobe, it's all rusty. I was hoping this was going to work in the boat. I was hoping that this camshaft was going to be good. We could use it on the boat that we're working on that needs a cam, but obviously we're not going to be putting this in anything. Try twisting it once you get it up a little bit like that. There's just O-rings that are holding it under there. It's usually pretty. Just pull up while you twist and it should. Might have to put a pry bar under it. Is it coming? That's gonna be nasty. So that should lift up. It's coming. It's coming. So that my client, who is the buyer of the motor for his Wonder Lodge, had asked me if I wanted to go look at the engine at the guy's place, which was about 3 hours away, depending on traffic through Nashville, one way. So I've been gone almost a full day to go look at it, and that would have cost like $1,500 in my time and everything to go look at it for an engine that was $3,500. So we'll take a gamble at it, I guess, and hope that if it's down a cylinder or something like that, no big deal. But I never in a million years imagined that it could be a seized block, never going to run again. Just that worst case scenario, I thought, well, the block will be good, the crank will be good, we could rebuild it and go from there. But this is far beyond my imagination for worst case scenarios. And I really hope the seller will do an honorable thing and step up. And even though, I think maybe he did not know that it was full of water, but he sold us a seized engine that's completely rusty and there's no real usable parts here. A couple of small accessories, valve covers, maybe the manifolds could be cleaned out on the inside and reused. I'd be afraid to put them on something without some serious work done to them. But yeah, this basically, we have a giant pile of scrap. I've never been hosed on Marketplace before, and I'm hoping that the seller, although he may not have a legal obligation, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but I certainly hope he has a moral obligation to step up and do something for us, because $3,500 is a big hit. That sucks.